Hey people, what's going on? I'm double. Okay, here I am. I was online Friday the 28th. Excuse me. Just getting my motor going here. A little late Saturday. 10 o'clock. Right away, Jack Malinsky in France. Jack, I've never met you, but I really do feel the warmth in your letter. In your letters, I really do. I really feel like you and I are friends, and I'm so sorry to hear that 2 members of Arcane have passed away, and that the band is no more. But I'm also glad to hear that you're working on music, and I hope to hear it when it's done. It's really one of the great gifts of doing this channel is the connections that I have with all of you folks. People's names escape me, but like right this moment I can think of Stanlow Crickets, who sent me those custom CDs that can play like records. And just the friendship with people like Anita over in Poland, and Lisa, and Cosmic Drifter, and Rob Panique's over in the East Coast still with me. Secka Funk, Curtis, all of you people. PJ, you know, all of you. Don't feel bad I'm not saying your name. See, that's how it gets. Can't think of everyone, but I really appreciate you all. Main thing I want to say about Neil Young and Joe Rogan is, wouldn't it be something if we could get regular folks to mobilize on an issue the way people go at each other about absolutely nothing? How hypocritical. Now, I have an opinion. Now, I always tell you, I just share my opinion. I'm not judging. But all this hypocritical judging of Neil Young in public, I was looking at it yesterday. It's still going on this morning a little bit. That's just juvenile to me. I remember as a child, I thought that adults did seem more reasonable, and as I've gotten older, it seems like it's been the reverse. The older I get, the more childish adults seem to be. You know, one of the things I always remember when I say things is like when you point the finger. Notice you've got 3 fingers pointing back at you. It's just really true, so always remember that. So my other my other stance regarding Neil Young and Spotify and Joe Rogan and all that is, I'm an artist. I'm a public figure, not nearly on the level of either of those folks. But nobody has any business telling me what I can do and what I can't do and what I can say, what I can't say. I ain't nobody's business just because you bought my records. That's really fucked up and really small-minded. That's what it looks like to me. And some of the people who are really outspoken against Neil just sound so stupid. And it's like, man, the ones who are the loudest criticizers probably have the least of anything to offer. I'll bet you that's the case. It generally is. So go on, Neil Young, with your bad self. You know, much respect. Is it still out? Yeah. I pulled and posted my copy of Harvest. I got a bunch of Neil Young. And this isn't the first copy. I bought it when it came out in 1972 with hard-earned money from my first job, or second job, as it were, at Bishop's Restaurant. Love Neil Young, love this album. I learned how to play the guitar about this time, and the first song that I could play all the way through was Heart of Gold. That was my first That was my first goal, is to learn Heart of Gold, because it's very simple, but it's a beautiful song. Seen Neil Young live 3 times. With Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young once, solo twice. Incredibly intense. I relate to Neil Young. I do. I think he's a brother. I do. And I can also imagine that I respect the man, okay? Some music for the weekend, because it's the weekend. Change Becomes Us by Wire came out 2016 or so. Whoa, 2013, excuse me. Time just keeps rolling, folks. Just keeps rolling. And that cover really is a standout. Isn't that a standout graphic? Doesn't it draw you in? This album is very good. It's an energizer. That's what I said about it last night when I posted it. This is an interesting album. Apocallypsis by Gerardo, Manuel, and Humo. I don't have the whole story behind this, but this sounds to me like it's something that was discovered and put out again, because the tapes are damaged. There's parts where literally the speed drops and then comes back. I remember as a kid, my first reel-to-reels, the little portable ones with batteries, and literally as the batteries would run down, the speed of the tape would slow down. That's what it sounds like here, you know. But beyond that, it's really very cool. It's a rock album. It sounds like the person really had the idea of trying to be commercially viable, but it just ends up sounding really wild and kind of over the top. Really like this. Some jazz yesterday. Albert Mangelsdorff with Masahiko Satoh. Spontaneous. This is mostly improvisation. It's a real good date. I love both of their playing, both of the major players here. But the mix works. It works. Their voices, the way that they play, it's so tasteful. And they listen. I can really tell when people are listening when it comes to improvisation. I think you can, anyone can, if you really pay attention while listening to improvisation. You can hear where things are gelling and not. Here's one, every time I post it, people act like they don't know about it. And it's like, wow, really? Massive Attack versus Mad Professor Part 2 on pink vinyl. And this is badass. It is. I love both Mad Professor and Massive Attack. And what a great combination. Dub. Massive Attack is like almost perfect music for dub. This is killer. Love that artwork too. Yeah, I'm on the chill side, like I said, this week. You know, I watched, well, I'll get to it. ReconstruKction of Light by King Crimson. This is one when they put out on CD. When they went to put it out on vinyl, Pat Mastelotto redid the drum tracks. I have the CD. I like this better. It's good King Crimson. Excuse me. There's some stuff when Adrian Belew was in the band where Robert Fripp would just let Adrian do what he wanted to do, and some of the stuff was goofy. Especially some of the lyrics were just like, this is just, I don't like that this is King Crimson. Literally, that'd be where I was at with it, about some of those songs. Too goofy. Played this all the way through. It's a psychedelic masterpiece. I'm so glad I was able to get a second copy. I had this as a teen, and it was one that I ruined. I played it too much. H.P. Lovecraft, their second album. Psychedelic masterpiece. The rumor is that they were all on acid when they recorded this. Wouldn't be surprised. I've done that. I've played shows on acid back in the day. Spin, Spin, Spin. The Mountains of Madness. Blue Jack of Diamonds. This album is, it's a classic. When people talk about real psychedelia, I think of this album right away, among others. H.P. Lovecraft, #2. Fantastic record, fantastic. Yesterday was the 40th anniversary of the release of this album. My God, the 90s. Was it 30 years or 40 years? 30 years, whatever, 92. 90, 91, 92 is when this came out. Spooky by Lush. It's interesting how, with time, bands like this, for me, and I think for many of us, we still tend to think of stuff like this as contemporary or as in the moment. And then you look at the dates and you see how time just keeps moving. Lush aren't even around anymore. Parashka is the name of the new band. I just love what this is about. I just really, Mickey and Emma, they caught a flavor. They caught something. I really like Lush. Bootleg Can, Future Days Live. Live in Cologne, 73. One of those Russian bootlegs. It says really high quality recording though. I don't have this recording elsewhere that I know of. Many of these recordings have been multiply released by different sources. This is a very good bootleg, real good. So I broke down yesterday and rented a movie. I don't like renting, buying content, but I really wanted to see The Resident's Theory of Obscurity. And the movie's been out for almost 10 years now. I finally watched it yesterday. I rented it. I'm glad I did. Really enjoyed it. Really respect The Residents, what they have done, what they do. I love them. I feel like I'm part of their history as I watch the movie. It's like, wow. It's really a small group of people worldwide all this time that have been with The Residents. I'm one of them. I went out to their first time touring ever. They did the Mole Show. They did it in LA, and then they did it twice in San Francisco. I went to the San Francisco shows, both of them. Met Penn Jillette the second night of the show. He called my name out from the stage during the show. I don't have I really would like a copy of that recording. I'm sure there's a bootleg of that show. And you hear and you see Penn Jillette call my name. I'm part of it. I love The Residents. They're not available. This is a first run of the album, American, Orange Label. Can't really say enough good about the band. So, I guess my general comment about life is, oh, as they say in Japan, am I saying the word right? Gambate? Do your best. We just need to do our best. We're always hoping for a brighter tomorrow, and we want to believe that things are getting better when they just really aren't. They really are not. And it's like you listen to the narrative that is laid out by rich people, because that's who's running the game, is the folks who have the resources. Rich people get to run the narrative. And since they have it, they're keeping it, and they're going to run it as long as it's working for them. So the rest of us just have to do our best, you know, which actually is fine. We're having good lives, aren't we? Or to a degree, we're having some moments of joy. We have good days. We have love. We're able to share with others. We're able to do things right, to a degree. And that's beautiful. But it still sucks that the overall narrative of this planet is one of utter chaos and destruction. False narrative of we're making things better and we're improving, and it's just a lie. It's always about some person, some small group that is benefiting materially from things. Like the latest thing here in Omaha. They're going to tear down the library downtown, and they're going to move Mutual of Omaha downtown. Big penis looking building, you know, that's the phallic thing. It's so obvious, you know, and Omaha is so corrupt when it comes to money. And it's so obvious who owns Omaha. And here's another example. They had the audacity to ask people publicly what do they want, before making the announcement. Well, what do you want? Instead, the library's going, so what would the people like to see? It was just bullshit, because they're never going to do what the citizenry want. Generally speaking, it sounds like people want the library to stay. It's like something that, from my perspective, it's something that a town needs, is a library. A few. Even though we have computers now and everything's online. A library seems like a good thing to have. And we're losing our main one. For a big Mutual of Omaha, big tall skyscraper, that's progress. You know, and of course the big argument is, well, we're creating jobs. Well, even those jobs are not, I know this from experience, okay, because like I said, I've worked as a lobbyist with the legislature and been involved in civil rights for a long time. And I know there's a lot of favoritism in how those jobs get, who gets the jobs and then who gets hired. It's not it's not fair. It's not fair. So anyway, I say these things because they help, like I say, they help me keep my perspective, so I can just bring it back to the one and have a decent day, a simple day. You do the same.